So, guys, these introduction sessions are designed to get you achieve about the cybersecurity job market, what are insight, how we going to start a career, what is the salary scale are there in cybersecurity, and how we can start a career. Like these webinars is designed for the serious people who are really looking to change their career into cybersecurity. I can guarantee you that after these introduction session, you do not need any kind of guidance. You'll get clear idea. You get a clear picture. If you're going to start your career in cybersecurity, what are the major things we are going to change? So this is a very serious towards the market. What we are going at, we're going to see practical tool challenges, what are going to face by the different people, as well as we're going to focus on the requirements, okay, what we needed. So we have some special service design. At the end, you're going to get some of the process as well as for these webinar attendance, we have one more important. If you have 100% attendance till the last, if you're tuned for these webinar, you're going to get a certifications as an attended certification also you're going to get. Okay. So there's a lot of stuff also you're going to get into it. But the most important thing is that you will get a correct guidance that if you want to start, these things are needed. Okay. So I want to make it this more interactive. So always use impressions like, whatever I'll say, like if it is anything is there, I have given the permission for everybody can unmute or can ask me any sort of questions if you have it. Okay. So let's do start. So what I'm going to talk about it all the career guidance what we need if we are going to start as a cybersecurity role. Okay. So before I go further, I would like to give you some small idea about my profile, like who's the person is talking behind the screen. So my name is Sheikh Iftikhar. I am cybersecurity expert with 12 years of experience. I work in wide range of services, giving into the designing, implementations, managing enterprise security solutions, as well as different private sector, banking sector, as well as government sector. We there into handling the different project. Right now, I'm involved with one of the Middle East project in Saudi Arabia, where getting implement the different security solutions, vulnerability management, and also the SOC deployment, like the SIM deployment, where we are currently doing it. We're testing environment for the small SMEs as well as the business requirement. We'll come up with that. We'll see what are the budget and what are the security solutions can be implemented. Okay. Based on this, where our services are there. Now comes it's not about just giving the services, but also we have some special service for the people who are looking to start the career in cybersecurity, experience of fresher, non-technical, or they are from already in the technical domain and want to get into the next position. So this is all for the people, non-IT and IT people can also start the career in cybersecurity. We're going to help you out step-by-step process from scratch to advance. Okay. So we have designed the curriculum in a such a manner that you will get a complete practical and scenario based process. What are the use cases are there? If you're working in industry, what are the daily activities happens? That is would be the main concept where we're going to do it. So we are passionate about developing cybersecurity talent, and we have trained and mentored more than 10,000 professionals worldwide, deliver hands-on industry-focused learning, help them to start their career in cybersecurity. If I talk about my personal profile, I'm a husband, father, hacker, gamer, sports fan, as well as the animal. And if you want to check out what service we do, what are the process are there, I usually post some use cases and so on, so that you can go ahead and check this over the LinkedIn. Okay. So this is a very short introduction about my profile. If you go to the LinkedIn, you'll get a clear picture about like what we are doing it, like how the services is involved. Okay. I work with some of the confidential companies as well as I work with the top leading telecom companies, database companies, IT teams. So there are different service solutions where we have already given. Now, before I go ahead, what is the webinar agenda about this? Here to get you understand what is the job market, as in if you're going as cybersecurity specialist, what is the current job market in India as well as in global here. essential skills what we require as an SOC analyst. We're going to have some live demo, the tools like Splunk, QRadar, Wireshark. We're going to see like how it works. We're going to talk something is very important. People are facing a problem nowadays. They do the certifications, they do the different courses, but they fail to get a job. The reason why the people get to fill the job because of their LinkedIn profile optimizations, which is not correct. We want to make it this very professional. We want to make sure that the people should reach to your inbox. That's how we are going to do it. What are the salary expectations are there? What are the career growth opportunities are there? At the end, if you have any questions, where we are happy to answer this is the main agenda. And if I talk about the duration of these webinar, it might take next 50 to 60 minutes. I'm going to wrap up. Okay. So let's go ahead and talk more about it. When I talk about the cybersecurity, why I'm talking about the cybersecurity. So if we see that, like let me just show you that. If I'll tell you that data breaches, right? So when we talk about what are the data breaches in 2006, we have it. If I'll talk about this, let's have a look on this. So when I say there is a global average cost of the data breach cost up to 4.99 millions in 2006, if you can see. There are the huge companies have done lot of data breaches happens. If you remember that recently there is one cyber attack happens to the one of the bank. You have seen that Baroda, right? Which bank it was? Bank of Baroda. If you remember that, right? Let me show you that. Bank of Baroda. Cyber attack. Let's have a look on this. Almost 1 TB data has released here. So it's a letters in July 2016. We can see that the Bank of Baroda, the cybersecurity incident has happened here. That is compromised employees and account details, unauthorized data leakage up to 1 TB. It means like customers' information. There can be Aadhaar card. It can be the bank details. They have like all data is there, and these data where they're sold to the dark web. They go to the dark web, and the confidential data are going to be shared. Not only these, but if you can see, data breach was happened to one of the toppest operator in India. If we know that, that is Airtel. If I talk about it, so here why I'm trying to explain you this. What is the main reason here? So Bharti Airtel also have faced an attack. Recently also they have the different data breaches that almost informations for the data, whatever the informations are there for the customers has been got as released here. So if you can see that in 2026 also they have faced an attack. So officially, if I can say that the Airtel domain have explored the data here. Okay. So anyways, there are huge data breaches are there, which is happens. So taking to that, we have the huge opportunities in today's market because we know that everything is there on internet. Like even we order the food, we do the banking, we do the shopping. We get one side the more advantage, but also the other side, if we'll see that there is a huge attacks happens. So as a security expert, we need to secure that. So I'll take you to the first part as in some of the theoretical concept to get you understand. And the next part, we are going to talk something about the practical here. Okay. So let's straight away, very simple definition. Start with this. What is cyber security? If I talk about it, as we know, like when I say the cyber security or the information security are the technology of protecting IT assets. What are those IT assets can be where the business operations run? Like we have a different computers, networks, servers, applications, databases, programs, like cloud services, regularities, and so on. There are the different IT assets where the business operations are running for any IT firm where you can see them. So attackers will not attack to individual computers, like to your computer, to my computer. They won't attack. They don't put their efforts to attack where they don't get the more profit. They always try to target where their demands can get filled. They can get some ransom. They can get some information. Either with that attack, they can get an database access, or They can lock the systems and ask them to pay something and get the money. This is how it happens. So we see that the cybersecurity is a very important concept in today's market and the business line, where the people, if not build the proper security to their organization, they get failed to run the business. This day or that day, the attacks is going to be happen. So that is the reason it's a global job market. So we see that we as a security expert, what we are going to do it, we are going to protect all the transactions, all the informations, all the process that happens to the IT assets. That can be the computers, networks, servers, programs, data from unauthorized access or attack that aim for the exploitation. So doing these, there are the two types of team are there. Like, mostly we can see that we have the blue team and we have the red team. The blue team are comes under the defensive team, like they are going to defense from different type of attack. Offensive team are come under the red team, which are doing the testing. They test different type of security aspects. They'll check, like how the security is working, what type of vulnerabilities are there. So they come into the web pen testing, or like vulnerability assessment test. All those can be done by the red team. So we are talking here about the blue team, how it works. Now, before that, I'll go jump into the more detail. I would like to tell you the major pillar for the security systems. Like in anywhere, if I talk about it, this is very important to understand. The CIA triad is a part of information security. So, what is cyber security? Is a subset of the information security, which is very important. Information security is a very wider word. We'll see more detail on that. But if I'll say in a very simple way, it stands with the three major pillars we call as confidentiality, integrity, and availability. I would like to give you an information. So what does it mean by the confidentiality? Let's say that I'll tell you a very simple example. We have the credit card, debit card. So that information, whatever it is there, it is okay if we can make it open. Do you think, like, if those informations are open, is that fine? Obviously no, because it might lead to us a financial loss. So organizations also have a different information that should not be accessible by unauthorized persons. So that maintain the confidentiality. Either if we are doing the transactions, either we are sending those information, either the data at rest, whatever it might be the mode of data, the data should always be in confidential. They should not be able to get an access by an unauthorized person. That is what we call as confidentiality. Integrity comes like the modification. So data should not get modified. The data should always being same, they maintain their authenticity. That's a very important concept. So that is we call as integrity here. And the availability, the service should always available. 24 by 7, 365, the service always will be up and running. I'll give you an example. Let's take, we have Amazon, right? Let's say that Amazon as an e-commerce platform, we see that, right? They maintain high level of confidentiality, they maintain high level of integrity, but they not focus on availability. So at this point, what happens? The people who are trying to purchase something on the e-commerce website, when they launch the application as Amazon.com, they won't be able to see that application. So what is the use of confidentiality and integrity? Correct. So in order to maintain the confidentiality and integrity, the user should be there. The availability is very important, because availability is also plays the major role in the security whenever we are going ahead and checking that how the service is available. That's the most important part. So that's how the confidentiality, integrity, and availability works. So let me tell you something here, how it works, what are the things are there. So if I talk about it here as a CIA triad, right? CIA triad is a part of cybersecurity expert. So we try to maintain the confidentiality, we try to maintain integrity and availability. So a complete efforts are maintaining this. But what are the attackers' favorite part is there? Most of the security expert, even they are working in industry, have no idea about the DAD. I understand many people know about the CIA, but many of people don't know about the DAD. What is this DAD? So DAD is nothing but when the cyber expert team are maintaining the confidentiality for this data here, they want to disclose this information. The attacker always put their effort to disclose this database. We have integrity. The service should always be in and unique. The information should not be get modified by unauthorized person. So the attacker want to do the alterations here. That comes on the alteration part. They want to do the modifications on it. And the service should always available. That is called as an availability. And the attacker want to distract those services. So that is called as a DAD. So the opposite of CIA, there is a DAD process also will be there. And we'll see how we can maintain high level of confidentiality, integrity, and availability according to the NIST frame. Okay, this is how it. Now let me tell you the role which we are talking about, something called as a SOC. Many of you people may have heard about it, but some people have not heard. Maybe let's discuss about it. SOC stand for the Security Operations Center. So this is like a very important department in any cybersecurity process if we talk about it. Why? Because they are monitoring the entire infrastructures. If any incident happens, any attack happens, SOC team are there in order to save that. It's like a central unit which is responsible for monitoring the entire organization's asset here. So we can see that SOC analyst plays a crucial role in the maintaining the security of an organization information system. The SOC is a centralized unit responsible for the main three parts which call us monitoring, detecting, and responding. If we understand what we monitor, what we detect, and how we're going to respond to those detections here, that's the major goal for the SOC means. So we detect different type of incident, we mitigate those security incident in the real time. So security, when we are talking as in SOC analysts, to monitor the security infrastructure, incident detections response, incident response, and there are the different threat intelligence tools we'll use in order to analyze the malware. We'll see some practical analysis also about the malware. So let me give you some more idea about this, how it works. So what is the SOC? SOC is a security operations center that monitors sign of cyber attack, such as unusual logins, strange pattern in the network, anything that seems out of the ordinary to the organization's asset. As a security expert, as a SOC analyst, when we spot that there is something is going on, so we jump into the action, we take the investigation process, we'll find out the root cause, we find out from where it is happening, and we'll stop bad guys doing these cause to harm. It's similar, like I would like to give you a very simple example. Let's understand. It's like a it's like a football match. Now goalkeeper saves the goal whenever the people are trying to goal. That is the most important thing, as we know, like they are the opposite team which always try to goal and the goalkeeper are going to save it. The same thing if I talk about the SOC team. The SOC team is always there in order to secure our IT assets. That there are the different type of attacks may happen from the attackers. So it can be on the applications, it can be on the cloud services, it can be on the database. So as a security specialist, we always try to protect that. So we are the first point of response if anything goes wrong here. So this is how it works. So let's understand, from the beginning, I'm saying you that there are different IT assets, correct? So what are those IT assets can be there and how it works? Let's understand that here. So when I say that the IT assets, this is what we can consider these are the IT assets. So these IT assets can be considered as endpoints, network devices, servers, applications, database, cloud services, IAM rules like identity access management, regularity compliance, and so on. So in a very simple note, endpoints are nothing but it can be considered as a workstations, desktops, laptops, mobile phones, smartphone, tablets, IoT device. This can be considered as an endpoint. We have the network devices. It can be the router, switches, firewall. There are a different type of load balances can be there, like how it was the load balance, how it can distribute the traffic. So there are the smart load balancer, like there are the latest next generation load balancers are there in the organizations which are using it. We have a different type of servers, as we know, like physical server, virtual servers. So assets can be on premises or it can be on cloud. Now, application, if I talk about it, application is also a business asset, correct or not? Because if I ask you one simple question, how the Amazon makes money, how Facebook makes money because of their application, how Zomato makes money, how Swiggy makes money, how Ola makes money, how Uber makes money, because the application they created, which are connecting with the customer and the service provider, right? Do you agree with that? Just type in the chat yes if all agree. I want everybody to just type yes in the chat. I want to see how many people are serious. I want everybody to answer that. Only Shiva Goddess says yes. What about others? I want everybody to just type yes in the chat box. Let me see how many are you active. Yes. Perfect, perfect. Everyone. I want to see like how many are you are the active listeners. Very less people. Is there? I can see like there's a huge people in the group. But when it is comes on interactions, five, six people are doing it that. Okay, anyways, let's go ahead. So yeah, thank you very much for the responding. I really enjoy talking with the interactive people. Thank you very much. So let's have a look on this. Application is also a business asset. We know that there are the several applications are there: in-house application, third-party applications, web applications, mobile application, desktop applications, right? So there are the different operations which have been taking on the applications. We are going to discuss that in detail. We have a database. We have different type of servers, which is very important. Now, when I talk about these servers, we need to know about the Windows servers. We need to know about the Linux servers. Like we see that the Windows machines are there. Most of the computers, most of the Active Directories, domain controllers can work on the Windows servers. That's fine. Most of the workstations are there Windows based. But Linux based system also we have it. That is also in a huge manner. You know, web applications where it is run. Front end we can see something, but the back end there's lot of Linux servers, application servers, and so all those are very important to know about it. So we're going to see that Windows security, Linux security in detail, complete security architect. We're going to see how it works, what are the policies, what are the technology we'll use from scratch to the advanced. We're going to discuss that. We're going to talk about the cloud security, which is one very booming part. Nobody is going to hire only with the stock analyst skill or only with the cloud skills. They need both combinations in today's market. If you go ahead and research, we've done hundreds of interviews with different people. We know whenever we are hiring the people, we'll check the skill set not only with the SOC operation, but also they know something about the cloud or not, which are most important part. So we're going to equally focus and get it knowledge in the cloud as well. Regularities, IAM, identity access management, which is again very important here. So regularities compliance that can be for like HIPAA, GDPR, PCI DSS, payment card industry data security standard, how the audit happens, what are the internal audit, what are the external audit, what type of evaluations they are doing it, what is GRC, because the governance, risk, and compliance, how it works, how it's need to be collaborate while we doing the audit in the system. So that is the skill set, that is the knowledge where we're going to have some platforms where you're also going to get more detail on this. So this is what we can consider as an IT assets. Now let's come back to the SOC operations. We got to know these are the IT assets which is very important. Now as a security analyst, what we are going to do, we're going to work on the tool called as a SIM. Now, what is SIM? Security Informations Event Management. So there is the tools which are going to collect the data from these assets. What type of data it is? They collect the logs. So what do you mean by the logs? Logs are nothing but whatever the activity that we perform on the endpoint, it generates in the textual forms. Let me give you one example here. Okay, let me open my command event manager. Okay, so just give me a moment. Okay, here we go ahead. And you can see that, right? Here we can see that there are the different type of locks are there. So there, Windows logs, if I can click, application log, security log, setup log, systems log. Each of these logs are giving the different information, whatever the activity that happens on this system that related to the security, that related to the applications, that related to the setup systems, or we have the more logs that is are the customized logs that are related to the hardware, that are related to the Windows activities, whatever we have done. So if you see that these logs are going to give us the informations about what activity have done on the systems here. So the logs comes in a different format, and we're going to understand the detail about it. It comes, especially if I talk about in the Windows machine, there is the event codes are there, like successful login, successful fail, a account has successfully got login or get failed. What happens actually? If I want to see how many login failure happens, so we have the different type of event codes here, which we're going to see. So here you can see that there are detections of 3 event that says the login failure happens. So how I got to know it's a login failure account? So here you can see that we got something as 4625. So the 4625, it says like whenever the system has get login failure here. So we get audit failure here. If you can see the keyword here, if you can see this keyword, it shows that there is an audit failure here. This is how it happens. Login success also we have it. If I want to see how the login success happens, so I can use it as 4624. So 4624 will take us to given information for login success. That comes as an audit success here. So there are like, the different type of logs are there, and these logs are very important. So the logs, there are the different type of logs are there. Let me show you that. Log types can be, we have authentications log, network logs, access log, systems log, applications log, security log, DNS log, email logs, proxy logs, database logs, like intrusion detection systems log, software's log, endpoints log. We can see the huge logs from cloud, printers, Windows, firewalls, EDRs, endpoint detections response, and so on. So these logs comes to the SIEM here. Now, what exactly the SIEM is doing? It's giving us an alert whenever the malicious activities happens. Now comes questions here. How does the SIEM is going to know that it is a malicious activity? Correct? How the SIEM is going to know that? SIEM is going to know based on the correlations rule. What is the correlations rules? Is a set of conditions that indicate a suspicious activity. When we see there is a login failures happens, right? 10 login failure happens from the same source that with the different name. This is defined one condition. It says that generate an alert. Let me give you one example here. If you see that this is one of my SIM tool, IBM Curator, I want to tell you that how these rules can be written. Okay. Just to give you a practical picture instead of theoretical concept. So you'll understand, okay, this is how the organizations works on that. So here we have a different options like dashboard, offenses, log activities, network activities, and so on. So if I'll go to the offenses are nothing but it's like whenever the attack, whenever the alerts happens, we can see the offenses here. This is how the production version also will be there. Okay. So here you can see all the offenses list. Here we have the rules, if you can able to see that here. Okay. So if I click on these rules, we have the different rules conditions here. The rules conditions can be get defined in order to detect the malware, in order to detect any type of attack patterns, whatever we have it. So we can see that there are the huge different informations we're going to get it. So these are been with the groups. So there are the different type of groups are there. So these groups are very important to understand how it works. Under the group, what type of attack patterns can be there. So to get segregate all these rules, they create these groups. And we as a security specialist working in the industry also will focus on making these type of groups here. So over these groups, you can see that it's going to give you about the DDoS attacks, compliance, botnet, authentications. It can be for the malwares. It can be for the suspicious activities. It can also consider as for any kind of the threats if it has happens, worms if it happens, everything. If I show you one of the rules, see, if I'll show you one of the rules, there are the different rules are there here. So I want to see only for the authentications. Let's take example. Authentications when the users are trying to get login to the servers or to the Windows. So here you can see that multiple login failures if it is happens from the single users or from different user. It can be global, it can be within the system. So we get the complete information about these rules, like how these rules are there. So these rules called as a custom rules. So we have can see here apply multiple login failures with a single user on an event that is detected by the local machine. So it's not a global rule, it's a local rule. We also have the global rule. We can see that. So when we have matches the certain following categories, so here we need to click on the category. Now, what is this BB? We call it the building blocks. Okay. So I'll show you that as well. So authentication failure when at least 10 events seen with the same user within just 5 minutes. So we can optimize these. We can make it the different rules. So here we have a display option. Here we can see the rules and the BB conditions. We call it as a building block. So there are the different technical parts are there, right? We're going to discuss. We're going to see the different type of logs which comes to the SIM here. So these database are very important in order to understand what type of attack patterns happens, what type of activities is happening. So we are collecting the live logs from the different sources. And also I have the filter here. If I want to see the last 6 hours, what happens? Imagine a situation. So we can click and we can see the last 6 hours, how many items we have seen here. So 1,29,045 items I have it here over the 40 pages, if you can see that. But I want to filter this. I want to make it this in a very simple way. I want to group this with the event name. So I'm going to group this with the event name where I can detect all the activity in a very clear manner. So here you can see that this is the process which we are going to discuss that. Here you have an option. So we can see that the complete grouping method, which happens. And over this grouping method, we can understand what activities happen. It can be like unknown events, information systems, health metrics. You're gonna see like anything with the HTTP directories happens, user account change, virus detected, email worm. You can see that, like even we can see some of the login failure if it is happened. So here you can see that user failed to log into the SSH, incorrect password. Now, if you say like let me do the investigations on that, what is that IP? Which IP? What was the source IP? What was the destination IP? How we get to know that? So if I click on this activity here, I'll get another window over my SIM tools where we have the verification process, investigation process, like how it happens. In that we go with the deep analysis again. So you can see that incorrect password for these Linux server. This is a log source from where we are getting it. The event count, how many events are generated, how many times they have tried this, what are like the source IP, what are the source port, what are the destination IP, destination port, usernames also we have. Now, if I want to do some verifications by using the username, source IP, destination IP, custom rules, everything, we can filter that. Now, as if now, if I want to go with the username, so what are the username they have tried by an attacker? So here you can see that the list of usernames also we can see. We can see the information that related to the username admin they have tried, user one, user two they have tried. You can see VMware, guest, and so on. So that might be a different process of investigations. We can see the network activities. So if I talk about the network activities, it's very important to know that what type of traffic is getting passes, what informations we are getting it. So we can be able to see the number of traffic that is routed, what type of applications see here. Application as a web source, or it is a applications for the computers, internal applications, whatever we have. We're going to discuss that like source IP, destination IP, source packet, destination packet, everything we're going to discuss that here. We have a different type of asset that is onboarded here. If I click on the asset list, I can see the number of assets which I'm collecting and monitoring the security solutions for this. We can see that the different type of reports. Now, many people think like, working on the tool is fine, but you must know how to understand about the report system, because you might be the client facing role and sometimes you need to submit the report like more quarterly report, like weekly report, daily report. Maybe you're there in the kickoff mission for the next project. So or you be there for like project expansion is going on. So last project what we have done, how many threat we have done, how many like millions of dollars we have saved with this security solution. So those are very important concept as a security expert. We need to know the deep dive informations like how the security expert works, what are the step-by-step process are there, what type of reports we need to create it. That's all we're going to discuss in detail. Everything I'm going to teach you, handholding process. This is how the weekly report, this is how the daily report, this is how handover reports are there. Everything which we're going to give it with the live samples reports here. You're going to get it like admin panel as well, where there are the different type of settings for the network hierarchy, systems license, where we have a different type of log sources on boards. We have the different type of log source extensions, like data flow. What are those? There are the different type of dashboards as well we have. So these dashboard again give you the overview about the entire systems, like your number of offenses happens, critical offenses, high offenses, how many offenses has taken place here. So we have a different filter systems here that I can check with the event flow. We can check with the miscellaneous matrix, or it can be the summary view, or it can be the thread globe. Everything we're going to get it. So this is what will give the clear picture over the same tools here. So we can see that like what are the total open offenses are there, what are the criticality levels are there, which is very important here, right? So we're going to discuss that as well. This is how it works. This is how like the systems work, which is we're going to discuss. So this is how the dashboards look like. Okay. So it's going to give me like 2 hours update, 1 hour update, whatever we have it, we can put that. Okay. So data is getting load and we can be able to see those informations also in detail here. So overall, what we got to know that the SIM is very important, right? What is the framework of the SIM? So when the rules matches, it generate an alert. If you talk about once the alert comes, what you have to do it? We have to do the investigation. We need to validate that. We need to validate that is a it's a true or it's a false. Means like we have comes two conditions after investigation. It's a true positive or false positive. Now, what do you mean by the false positive? This is very common word used in everywhere as a security solutions. So false positive, there's a false alarm. We can close it. True positive, yes, there is truly the risk is intercepted. There is a risk is happens. So we have to perform the incident response plan here. Now, what is this incident response plan? I don't know how to do that. So whenever the affected machines are there, there is a process of identification. There is a process of containment. There is a process of eradications. The process of removing the malwares, removing all the root cause of those attacks, then recovery, take back to the businesses and then write a report how this incident cycle is worked. So there are the complete professional manner where we have to work it because whenever the incident happens, any cyber attack happens to the organization's asset, it will be the impact. Cyber attacks make certain impact to the organizations. What are those impact? Impact, I must say that this impact can be in the form of financial. The impact may happens based on reputation, based on operation, or it can be the regularity compliance also can be there because everyone have a certain requirement. If I talk about the banks have certain requirement as a PCI DSS, payment card industry data security standard. So they have certain things, certain compliance need to be get followed. If it is not followed, the attacks happens. And if that attack happens under that compliance requirement, organizations will pay huge amount to that standard bodies here. There will be a huge penalties are there. That's how it works. So that is the reason building security is very important. So here we see that it will impact to the organization's asset. So whenever any incident happens, there is a process called as a severity. We define the severity. Now, why we define the severity? Let me tell you. There are two alerts happens. How will which alert you will take first? There are two alerts happens, and you as a security analyst working, which one you going to pick? That will get to know based on the severity. If it is anything is critical, one is critical, one is medium. Which one will take, guys? Simply tell me. Just type in the chat C or M. Just type C or M. If critical C, medium is low. M is medium. Tell me which one will pick. If there are the two alert happens, you as a security analyst is working. So there is the critical alert happens and there's a medium alert. Which one will pick first? Yes, critical one. Correct. So we're going to pick the critical. Why critical? Because it makes more damage to the organization's asset. There will be the more losses in the organization's asset. That is the reason we're going to pick the critical. That's how it's worked. So overall, as in security expert, we're going to discuss the entire systems, how it works, how the network architectures are there, what is internet, what is router, where the firewall, what is IDS, IPS, what are the critical asset, what are the less critical asset. So based on these asset lists, the criticality levels will define. We call it the risk management. So there is a lot of terms are there. In fact, that is required to be have a good knowledge and strong commitment over this, how we going to improve our skill. So that is the reason I'm just giving you a picture on this, like how it works. We have like UTM. What is this UTM? Unified Threat Management Firewalls, right? We have next generation firewalls. We have the cloud-based firewall. We have WAF. We have the different policies, different systems, which is what. So this is are the important concept where we have to. Now attacks happens different way. If I'll tell you that the attacks continuously to be happens. Now there is an attack called as brute force attack, right? Now what happens in the brute force attack? The attackers are trying to attack on the system. They're trying to gain the username and password. How does it happen? Let me tell you that. Let me show you, in fact, like how these attacks happens. Okay. So here, if you can see that, I have one machine here. Now, what is this machine? This is the Windows server here. Okay. This is the Windows server. Let me just log into this Windows server first. Okay. So give me a moment. Let me put the password. Hmm. What happened? Okay. Okay. Let's see here, guys. This is one of my sim tool. Let me minimize this. And here we have one machine here, right? So this is my Linux machine, okay, Kali Linux machine. So I'll consider these as if now I'm going to take this machine as a attacker machine, okay. So this is an attacker machine and this is a victim machines, okay. Now here the very most important thing is that whenever the attack happens, whenever we see the attack, we need to know some informations for the target system. As an attacker, we don't attack directly until unless we don't have the information. So there is a certain frameworks are there. They do the reconnaissance, they do the weaponization, they deliver, they exploit. So there are like different method comes whenever the cyber attacks happens. So here you can see that this is the Windows target machine which I'm going to attack. So the first thing is that what I'm going to do it here. I'm going to get the IP address of this machine here. Okay. So let's say that okay, it's quite slow. Don't worry. But let us see. If I come here and just type IP config. So this target machine is 192.168.117.145. This is an IP address for this machine, right? First, what I'm going to do it, I'm going to run and scan here. I'm going to run and scan, find out what are the ports are open here. Okay. So let's see that. I'll go to the one of my tool here called as a nmap. Have you ever heard about the nmap? You might be because it's very common tool and used by the attackers or the pen tester whenever we are seeing that. So if I'll say that nmap for the IP address which we have at 192.168.117.145. So when I initiate the scan here, I will get some information. Now what are this information? Here you can see the port, the state, and the service, which is very important. Even we can get the version. If I'll go some more deep scanning, I can get the version also. So over here, you can see the port scan version. Like you can see that there is a different type of ports are there. Like, we can see 22 port, 53 port, 88, 135, 139. There are different ports are there. Now we can use any of these port as it open, we can attack on it. So I'm going to use this port here. Okay. I'm going to use this port to attack. So what I'm going to do it, let's say that I'm going to use the Hydra here. And here you can see the entire command are there. So if I say that the Hydra SSH, I'm going to log in for this. In order to save our time, directly I have just pasted this. So here you can see the directory which I am taking it. Okay. Now let me just hit enter here. What happens? Let's see. Now we can onboard this machine to our SIM and we can get it the informations about it. How it works, what are like the processes happens, what type of like the attack will take place. So it will take some time to execute. We'll understand the mechanism system of it, like what is doing it. So restoring all the file, it takes next 10 seconds to get start attack. We can attack this type of network and so you can see that attacking on the system here, SSH, you can see. Now here you can see that target system is 192.168.117.145. We are doing the login and we are trying to guess the password. And there's a huge type of like, the attempts are going here, right? And these attempts happening to our Windows server. So Windows server is generating the huge log that is for the login failure here. If you can see that there is a huge data are coming. So next 5 minutes, 10 minutes, if I go ahead and do the filter, I'll get lot of logs there. That's are doing that. So this is how the brute force attack has happened. The attackers will always try to do the attack in a different method. So you might may have heard many time about the brute force attack, but how it takes place, it will take place something like this. So here how the attack will take place, here how the attackers will attack on the system chain. Okay. So let me just pause this and show you that if I come to this system, okay. So let us see that if we do some login, can we get some information with that? So here the Splunk, this is another tool. Now we have done some like login failures here, right? So all the data should send to the SIM tool, and the SIM tool must generate an alert that there is some suspicious activity happens on this system here. There are certain attack pattern that's taken place in the system here. So what we are going to do it here, we're going to search a log call as like index 4625 here. Okay, we're going to see this 4625 for the particular time here. Okay, so this is for the operating system. Like we have the operating system for that, how many times the login failure it is happens. So here you can see that it's showing us with some around 74 time, which is just a very simple login here. Okay, 8 891 time is showing it. Okay, now if I want to do this filter, right, I have an options. I can do this filters with a different time. Last 5 minutes I want to check it. Okay, I have done this last 5 minutes the login failures, correct? So maximum time normally activities is done. How many logs we can be able to see? Just in 5 minutes, the login failure normally, if it is happens, 2 time, 3 time, 4 time, 5 time. But here, if you can see the event code for the login failure, which is happens for last, 5 minutes. If you see the window time is 5 minutes, just the 5 minutes, and you can see the login failure that is the 4625 for the operating system, which we are checking it, and that is like 638, but still is loading. Data is still loading, but this is just for the 5 minutes. And what is the reason here? If you go ahead and see that the particular machine which has been get login with the account name, you can see that. And here the audit failure, which I showed you that the reason for the failure is unknown username or the bad password. So this is how the attacks happens. Attacks continuously to be happens. We can see the different type of attacks on the application, different type of attack that happens on the different systems here. So as a security analyst, we got to know that we work on a variety of technology and process, support the activities. Example, if we have the SIM systems, we collect, correlate, and analyze the security related data across the organization's IT infrastructure. It can be intrusion detection system, intrusion prevention system. We detect, we prevent, we see known or unknown cyber attacks. Threat intelligence tools will use the platform in order to analyze what type of data, how it works. EDR solutions are there, endpoint detections and response solutions. That's are going to give you the information about threat that is there on the endpoints, right? What type of malware, what type of attack is happening, what type of the user behavior are there. All those details we can be able to see that. So here we can see that the what the SOC team will do it. They get an alert, they analyze those alerts, they decide that is it legitimate or it's a bad. If legitimate, we can ignore that. But if it's in a bad, we have to take an action. That can be the incoming attack, that can be the outgoing attack. It means like external or internal. Internal means inside the organizations we have a team. So this is also may lead to the cyber attack because external attack may take some time because they need to get an access to the internal or they need to find out the vulnerabilities to get inside the network. But these employees already there in the network. They're already using the critical asset. So we need to keep an eye what activity they are doing because we have a different team in the organization. Let's see that. We have sales teams, accounting team, construction team. We have like IT team, like developers. We have like IT infrastructure team, ICT team, information on communication technology like system team, network team, database team. We have ID security teams like IAM, endpoint security, vulnerability assessment team. We can be able to see something as a network security team. So here comes the SOC analyst, which is plays major role because they keep eye on everything. They require the coordinations with the entire team to see what activities is happening. So if I'll tell you that in a very simple way, how we can relate that, I want to relate with the civil engineer. Now, what exactly the civil engineer will do it? We know they are into the construction. They are going to construct building, houses, malls, villas, bridges, and so on. But while it's constructing the anything, like let's take an example, they are constructing a building. So you need to interact with the several team, which is very important. Like they need to interact with the architect, they need to interact with the mason, they need to interact with the tile workers, they need to interact with plumbers, they need to interact with the electricians, they need to interact with the painters, which are very, very important. If there's no interaction will there, construction will not happen according to the plan, what is going on, right? That is as very important here. Okay. So we need to understand that there is required of a civil engineer to get have complete coordinations with this entire thing. If not, then it's not going to be happens constructions according to the plan. The same way, if I talk about and this relate with the cybersecurity team, we as a cybersecurity expert team. So we need to see all the activity performing by the internal team as well. That example, what is the HR team is doing it when they are getting connected? We have a different team, right? Marketing team, we have like network team, we have finance team, we have the IT team. So which we need to know that what type of activity they're performing, how this critical asset they are using it. Is there any policy break? Is there any policy violations is happening? So that need to be detected, that need to be get questions, that need to be get quarantine, and so on. So as a security analyst, what we're going to do it, we monitor, we detect, we investigate, and we respond to the cyber threat, which is very, very important role. So we get a different type of cyber attacks, right? So what are those cyber attacks? Anything. Cyber attack happens continuously on a massive scale. That can be a brute force attack, that can be a phishing attack, that can be a malware attack, that can be like PowerShell script they might run, and certain other softwares they may use, or vulnerable softwares they might use. So as a security expert, we need to know that the phishing, man in the middle attack, DOS attack, SQL injections, especially happens to the applications, zero-day exploitations, ransomware attack, cross-site scripting. We have the drive-by download and so on. There's a huge areas out there which need to be get understand. As a security expert, we need to have a complete idea how these attacks happens, how these attacks need to be take care of it. So we as a security expert, we understand that whenever this type of incident happens, we'll give the first response. We are the point of contact at the initial place. And if anything goes wrong, we're going to report that. We're going to take an action. We're going to involve with the several team in order to take an incident response here. So we prepare the entire tools, process, detections method. We identify whenever the attack is happens. We quarantine that, we make it that separate, it should not get spread to the other system. We do the eradication process. This is eradication is nothing but we remove the malware, we remove the affected machines which is there, we recover the machine back to the businesses. We write in lesson learn what we have done, what are the steps we have taken to resolve this incident, because it requires the future as well as for the report or need to submit to the client, because there are the different type of SOC operations are there. I'll tell you that we have something called as MSSP, Managed Security Service Project. That is for we are giving service security solutions to some vendors. Somebody have in-house SOC where they are taking all their activities by inside there. Their own asset, their own protection, security solutions are there. The next we have the hybrid SOC. Hybrid SOC, they take some tech of the security system and some of the asset they give to the odd third party to take security operations on that. So that's how, like, the different operations happens. That is how the SOC operations runs. So we need to submit the reports on the incident, which is very important. We need to maintain this report that is required for the compliance, that is required for our record or measure the SOC's metrics, like how we are improving the team performance and so on. This is how it works. Now, there are the different type of attacks like malware incident, unauthorized access, phishing attack, DOS attack, insider threat, data breaches, incident response to the vulnerabilities, IoT security incident, application security, data exfiltration, brute force attack. Just have given you one of the example, like security policy violations that may happen. So as a security expert, we need to know like how we're going to resolve this. So there are the different type of analysis we require to be done, like static analysis, dynamic analysis. What is this? If I say the static analysis, examine the malware without executing file. So we just understand the behavior. Let me give you some idea on this. So whenever we go ahead and do certain things, we have a different type of threat intelligence tools here. So this is one of the tools which I'm going to show you that. So it's going to give me the report about what is happening here, right? So here you can see that we do the file submissions, hashing, we can run the command, we can do the analysis of URL. There are the different threat intelligence tools out there. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to just put one file here, the malware sample file. Let's see that what happens with that. I'm going to put this to here. Okay. So here you can do that. I'm doing some analysis where I can get the complete report. So here we have an option. When I send it one malware file to the system here, it says that you want to go ahead for the dynamic, that is a dynamic, or you want to go ahead with the static here. So we have the two options here. So what does it mean by the dynamic or making a static? If you can see that the static analysis, examine the file without executing. Dynamic means executing the malware in a control environment, like we have sandboxes and so on, where it can be used in order to understand like how it works. So I want to go with the static here. I don't want to go with the dynamic, and I want to launch the submissions here. So when I do that, it's going to give me the complete detail about it, like what is the overview, what is the scan says, right? what are the CARDR scores, what is the IOCs, we call it the indications of compromisations here. Like we have a different hash values here. It can be IP addresses and so on. And this is are uniquely done here. This is not like, hash value, which is very important to know that because these hashes are reporting as a malware. Not only on this tool, if I take only the hash value and go to the some other tools here, let's say that if I want to go to the virus total here, one of the other threat intelligent tools, which I'm going to use this. Now, if I put this hash value here, let's say that what happens. If I'm going to put this hash value, again, it's going to give me the report about this. Here you can see that out of 67, 65, it says that this is as the malicious here. You can see that a virus and Trojan here. We can see all the details about it. What are the hashes? What are, like, we have the MD5, SHA-1, SHA-256, and so on. We can see the relations here, like, how it works. We have like MITRE attack framework here. So if I want to see the behavior, I can see the behavior about there is some process called as a MITRE attack framework here. You can get complete detail about this. Like, these are the things that happens. The complete informations are there. What are the texts? What are the informations about these malware? What type of activities they are doing it? How these attack is taken place? So are the required skill set which we require here. So we can see about all the MITRE signatures, IDS rule, Sigma rule, what is our other type of rule, Yara rules, all things we need to detect over here. So this is what the analysis comes. This is how the analysis we need to perform as a security expert. So this is what we have like memory scan, examining the computer RAM here because there is some fileless malwares can be there. We have a different special tools for that. We can be use recal or vulnerabilities, or then we have some other ranks like rootkit tools, rootkit which have been like system based attack happens. We have reverse engineering, that is like uncoding or decoding those malwares here. So there are the different methods are there which we need to understand. As I said you that that's a very important to know about the security which is required here. So that security can be related to, we can consider as like, data security, availability, compliance, disaster recovery, business continuity, governance, IAM. So what are the possible process we do in the cloud security? What are the step-by-step methods are there, which we are going to discuss that in detail, that all related to the job. Now come, if I said you that, what is authentication, authorizations, encryptions, vulnerabilities, audit and compliance? What are the network securities, terminal securities, response, emergency response, container security, API security, and so on? There's a huge areas are there as a security expert when we are working. So all these areas we need to understand that. So we're going to use the different tools like Virus Total, Azure Sentinel, Shodan, Splunk, Jira, IBM Curadar, Wireshark, Nmap, Kali Linux, so on. We need to know like how the server securities are there, Linux server, Windows server, everything in detail, email security, endpoint security, data security, compliance, SOC operations, which we require. So this role is not just for the level one. We need to be have a different role of the level one, level two, level three. Up to the level three, we can do it. But in practically, if I'll say that the person is not belong to the security department, they are just entering first. So level one or level two, they can do that. Person already there in the security or in IT domain, they can comes to up to the level three. This is the opportunities are which we are going to discuss. Now, if I'll talk about the cybersecurity jobs are the huge in the market. Like, according to the FOP news, this is the second largest paying job and which has been going to billions of business in today's market. So next important things, what are the companies are hiring? EY, Google, KPMG, PwC, Microsoft, IBM, Deloitte, Infosys, and so on. There is huge companies out there which are continuously hiring as a security expert. Mid-level companies, high-end companies. Now, most of the people will face a problem. How we can get the job? Doing the course is not important. Getting a skill is not important, but also making money with that skill is most important part. For that, we have the complete special process which will tell you, which will guide you step by step process in order to get in recruiters in your inbox. I'll show you some example here. Let me give you some idea here how this can be happens. Okay, just give me 1 minute. Let me just open this. So this is for one of we have done this is for to just to have an idea, done some experiment for the people who are there in for the process here. So here, if you can see that, I believe just this is a global job market. Okay. So guys, here you can come over with and you can see how we optimize this. This is my account just to get the people know like how they can get an opportunity in the organization. So we have many people like we not apply for these jobs here. If you see that here, this is for we designed for the Saudi Arabia, but here you can get an idea. I want everybody to have a full attention here. You can see that the guys reach to my account directly. It says that your strong background in cybersecurity caught my attention. I want you to come for the recruitment practice for this. Here is the cybersecurity data protection laws renewed, and here the contact number sent it. Not only one message, I have multiple. This is the person which you can again see. We have already the offer letters from those companies for the experiment and to know how the testing is happening. We usually do this. So here you can see that EY company as across with your profile, impressed with your impressed on your experience. Cybersecurity, we are currently looking for the cybersecurity SMEs, subject matter expert within Riyadh office. Salaries, I'll say minimum 35,000. In here we are getting it. In India we get more, we get it like 35,000 riyal. If I'll say that in general, like INR to INR to SAR, if I'll do right. So what is the package here? So I'm getting 35,000 here. So here you can see that 8,86,000 as monthly salary. This is the monthly salary, and if you do the annual package, it will be nearly 1 crore. This is how the market is set. We have to come out with the box. We have to come out with the small box and see the opportunity. You can get it like the huge opportunities working in it. Here, if you can see that it is directly, we have done one project with this. If you can go ahead and understand that what is their requirement here. So here you can see requirement which is there for the client base in Saudi Arabia. So they come to my box and say that here you can see that there is again we have an opportunity. So here you can see that the people are coming to my inbox and giving me an opportunity to work on that here. Okay. So overall, you can see that the expectations for these market are huge. There are many people are there. Here you can see that. Again, these from the UK, I believe they came and they have the client in Riyadh in Saudi because we optimize for the Saudi Arabia. That is the reason. It can be done for India, it can be done for France, it can be done for Australia, it can be done for the Dubai. Globally, whatever we have, we know the system. We know how your profile should be there, how the people will come. So it's not just applying on a job. We also have that options we can apply, but the people also come to your inbox. And most important part is not just getting them. You should be able to communicate with them. You should be able to clear interview. That makes more important for us, whenever we are going there. So there are many people. I will just share you some of these I would like to just give you an idea. I can play thousands of videos, but I just want to give you some of these to get you understand how those people are taking the benefit with this. Some of these to get you understand. Just give me a moment. Okay, I'm going to share the sound first, and I'll show you like how it works. I can give you some tips on interview as well.
Hi everyone.
Just give me an acknowledge if you can able to hear the voice.
Hi everyone. Good morning. Myself.
Is it the voice is able audible to guys you are? Just put in the message yes if you can listen that. Okay, thank you. To just give you some idea on this.
Thoroughly. I just wanted to inform you that this training was worth every single penny, and the trainers were not only knowledgeable but they are passionate about the cyber security. They made learning very easy, enjoyable, and practical. The team they are providing the services are excellent. So I just highly recommend everyone to join this course? Thanks, TechGeek.
Hi, I'm doing the cybersecurity course with Tech Geek, and it's an amazing, very informative, and practical course. I found that not only am I gaining knowledge, but also doing practical steps that would be applicable in the job, and I highly recommend it. The tutors as well as the consultants have been very, very responsive and very accommodating for every life event. So I do recommend that you take this course. Okay.
Training cybersecurity with Sheikh Sir was an eye-opening experience for me. The instructor were very knowledgeable and approachable, making complex concept understandable. I now feel very confident in protecting myself and my organization from cyber threats. The hands-on lab were invaluable, giving real-world experience. Highly recommended. Thanks TechGeek and thanks Sheikh Sir.
Hello everyone, it's Rahmat here. I hope this message finds you well. I recently completed my cybersecurity course from TechGeek and I had no idea how vulnerable I was online. And thanks for offering this.
See, we have
Hello everyone, my name is Waliu. I'm a former student of Tech Geek Institute in Hyderabad, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I got to know about Tech Geek Institute on Facebook. I saw their ads on Facebook and I picked their phone number and I reached out to one of their coordinators who helped me with registration and making payments. I started in January 2023 and I finished in May 2023. What I can say about Tech Geek is, to me, to be honest, it's a very good place for you to learn about cybersecurity, especially for people that are new in the field who is looking to break into cybersecurity. Tech Geek is a place where they will teach you from basic to the advanced. I didn't really know much about cybersecurity when I joined Tech Geek, and I was able to learn from the basic until the advanced level. All the lecturers there and the coordinators they are always ready to help. They always listen to their students in terms of questions and concerns. If you have any questions and concerns, once you reach out to any of the lecturers, they are always willing to help on time. And I would highly recommend Tech Geek to anyone who is looking to break into the field, because after the whole program, they also help with resume preparation and they also connect with employer. And so if you're looking to break into the field, it's a place where I would highly recommend. As a matter of fact, after my own program, I also recommended a friend who is currently doing a program with them now. And I also have a lot of people who were asking me about how their program is, and they are also willing to try the school. So for me, like I said earlier, it's a very great place for you to learn about cybersecurity if you want to learn from basic to advanced, and possibility of getting a job after the course. Yeah. And they also help with interview preparation. Yeah. So I'll recommend.
this is just a bit like we have thousands of the feedback, thousands of testimonial videos. Like the people are happy to share that, and we really thanks for the people who have been a part of us, and we help them to build their career in security, and they are making a good their practice, as well as they're helping out to the people who are coming. So there are complete process which we are performing, and we don't do this is for the making of huge people in a batch. We have the limited seats. Will focus only on the people who are really interested and keen to go ahead. I'm happy that the people who are left till now, well, we started, it was 14, 15. Then suddenly we got to drop the list, and whatever the people till here, if you stay till here, means you're serious about the process, what you're going to get in. Okay. But still, there's no force. It's all depends upon your decision, what we are going in. We have our dedicated consultant with you, are going to help you out clearly to get understand things what we are going to do. So overall, I can tell you that if you're going ahead and further processing this, what we need to be having. We need to have the cybersecurity fundamental, build a strong foundations in networking, operating systems, Linux systems, Windows system. We need to know like how the SOC skills are there. We need to learn the Splunk, Microsoft Sentinels, the QRadar, like what are the logs comes from XDR, EDRs, what are the incident response, threat hunting, MITRE attack framework, virtual labs you need it, real environment you need it. We build a portfolio that investigate, detect, and use cases we have it. We optimize your LinkedIn profile within a very clear word. But still, if you want to go ahead yourself, you can do it. So you have the profession. You need to be have a professional photos. You need to be create a strong cybersecurity headlines, relevant keywords, showcase on project certifications, which we're going to help you out. We're unable to make you very clear about things what you require. Complete portfolio will be get ready, and I will tell you that we walk step by step with you guys till you get next to your name as a security analyst. This is how we're going to help out. So many people got and taken an advantage of it, and many people have taken the decision. So if you want to go ahead, we have this process: SOC operations, procedures, and tool, hands-on practice in real-time SOC environment, real solving problems like how it works, job interviews, what type of interview, technical guides are there. In general, if I'll tell you that, I'll tell you how we're going to prepare them. It's just to get you understand what is an important, how it works. We don't prepare you based on the the materialistic. We're going to give you some idea that is happens in the real basis, real interview, how it happens. Okay. And, and there are some interview happens in Qatar. One of our Indian student who has got a job with of 18,000 real. You can calculate that. What is the Qatar currency according to the Indian currency? What is that? You will get an idea. Give me a moment. Let me see where is the offer letter or the feedback. Unfortunately, I believe that is there into the different system. Yes, it's not there with me right now on the current machine. Sorry for that. I wish I would have give you that asset. But anyways, it's all about to get you understand how the opportunities are there. So take a right decisions. Now, if I'll tell you about it, our process, how it will be there, it's a live session, interaction lesson as we are going ahead. You get the complete concept on networking, stock analyst role, so complete role. You're going to see that what are the step-by-step process happens, how it works, what are things we are going to do it, which are going to get in detail about it, all the SOC operations, what we are performing here. So we're going to get it the cloud security. We're going to see the interview preparation, but also very important. Not only this is all are the defensive, but offensive part also you have it. The video-based access to the ethical hacking codes as well as to the web pen testing. You're going to get the complete access to the ethical hacking and the weapon testing in the detail. We also get the tools like the tool list I'm showing you, hands-on practical on this, the Splunk, IBM Curator, Wireshark, Microsoft Azure Sentinel, Nessus, and Threat Intelligence. So these are the tools are there which are going to work. And what we do it, simple and very clear straight away. This is only target for a job and the skill set. So we're going to get it like live SOC scenarios, incident investigations, log analysis, threat hunting, detections, engineering, like how we're going to build a SOC job ready skills. We're going to build a LinkedIn profile that gets noticed by the recruiters. As I said, you the recruiter will come to your inbox, get career support to move forward with the confidence, prepare you for the interview with expert guidance and practice, and also improve your CV with the professional sample format. That is how overall we stand out the job market with the complete job search support package. You have to clear your interview. I'm sure that we are doing the training, preparing you for the job, preparing for the interview, preparing you to be get ready where the interviewer come. You just need to work on it. It's two sides. So this is how the possibilities are there. But still, if you think no, it not happens, don't take decision, because the people only will understand. The people who take the decision will change their life. This is how it would be there. If you're thinking, if you want to make it something right and the right directions at the right time, then this is the time you have to do it. This is the time where you have to prove it, because the skill set is there, opportunities are there. Next 5 years, there is a huge opportunity in the market. So taking a right decision is very important. My team is there. If you have any doubts or any concern, You can talk to my team, can give you the complete solutions here. So this is how we work. We have the complete cybersecurity solutions, and it's a big market for current and next. So if you have any doubts or any concern, please make sure that you will reach by my team and can guide you the every steps on it. Okay. So those have sent you the link, and those have got joined using the group also can ping, or the person who have already individual connected by my team, they can directly contact you and can tell you about the formalities what we have to do to enroll this course. Okay, that's all from my side. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me, and can also reach on this number 93984296006 if you have any queries or you want to get connected with our team, so you can get connected with this team as well. Yes, is there any questions from anybody else? If you have, please feel free to ask me. All good, all fine. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much for listening to me, guys. Bye.